Hey Paradoxica, hey Banana, how are you doing? Should be saved like right in the hallway. Yeah. I forgot to investigate around the actual like stage.
Wow, that piano looks much bigger up close. Machi played it so beautifully.
Yeah, like a real pianist.
That's just silly, Apollo. How can you call someone as good as Machi a pianist? Wait, that's like throwing him in the same class as Daddy.
Good thing Mr. Wright didn't hear that one. Doing good, just freezing your butt off because it's almost winter in Australia. I swear, the temperature where I'm at has been boomeranging around like crazy. Like, sometimes it'll be like, it'll start feeling like it's hot. Like it's, you know, spring like it's supposed to be. And other times it'll shoot straight back into the like, hey, 0 degrees, have fun. Look at all these electronic devices. I'm guessing they have something to do with sound.
Why guess when we can fiddle? Let's see here.
Don't touch that.
A healthy curiosity is the key to a good investigation. When in doubt, fiddle. That's what Daddy always says.
Could require parental testing, clearly. That's a big instrument case.
That's a case for a contrabass, I think.
Fit 20 violins in there, I bet.
It may look like a violin, but it's a completely different instrument.
Fit 5 truces in there, I bet.
Hey, are you comparing me to an instrument? I wonder who who left it sitting open like that.
Can confirm, bass cases are stupidly big. Hell, you don't even need a bass case to, like, have enough room to put somebody in. You just need a full-size cello case. Take it from someone who had a friend who literally climbed inside a cello case. Pine did it at minimum once. Look, a ladder. Where? Guess they need one to work on the lights and such.
Why don't they use a stepladder?
Oh, there.
I prefer stepladders, really. Is that so wrong?
Not wrong, just, well, why do you prefer stepladders?
They're so much more flexible than plain old ladders.
I prefer my ladders rigid and stable, thank you. I may be being stupid. I don't know what that joke was supposed to be.
What a big stage. It's on a whole other scale than the Wonder Bar.
Lights were so bright I couldn't see the whole first part of the concert.
I'd love to do my act on a stage like this someday.
And a finger on the monkey's paw curls. Just hold back on the lights for my eyes' sake, please.
You'll be too blinded by my magic to worry about lights.
You probably don't want to blind the audience if you plan on showing them magic. Not much to investigate here. Huh. Oh, were we supposed to be going and trying to talk to, Lemuror?
Ah, Lemrar. What has happened? I heard that Mr. Latouche has died.
Lemuror, you speak? I mean, you speak English?
Yes. I was invited here from the Republic of Borginia. But I am not Borginian by birth. But wasn't Mr. Latouche your interpreter? That. Yes, well... It was Mr. Latouche's idea. He thought it would add to the mystery, you see.
Then your pianist is also...
No.
Still don't remember how... Machi Tobai?
No. Machi Tobai is Borginian. He does not speak English. Now please, tell me. What has happened to Mr. Latouche? Why did he... Actually, Mr. Latouche was...
Trucy!
Huh?
Remember what Prosecutor Gavin said? Not a word.
But... Mr. Latouche is Lemur's manager. That's not fair to her. I mean, isn't she a related party?
Precisely who Prosecutor Gavin doesn't want to alert, I suspect.
All we have been told is to wait here in this room. It's very unsettling.
I'm sorry, we're trying to figure it out ourselves. Do you think I could ask you some questions?
Of course. I'm always willing to help.
She's as calm as she looked on stage. Can't put my finger on why, but I like this Lemuror.
What is it, Machi? What? But you'd be alone.
What seems to be the problem?
Machi, he's not good around strangers. He wishes to go out for a breath of fresh air.
It's Borginian.
Would that be alright?
Sure, of course.
Very well. What is it you wish to ask me about?
The Republic of Borginia. That's in Northern Europe, right?
I've never even heard of it. I started out singing in a restaurant. And then a producer called me. And before I knew it, here I am. You don't say. You know, my daddy plays piano at a restaurant.
Producers tend to look for talent, Trucy. Lemuror, you're not from Borginia originally. You born here?
Well...
Oh, is that supposed to be a secret?
Image is everything when you're a star. I know a bit about that, of course. Yes. It is something like this. A contract, you might say. I'm also not to speak anything but Borginian in public.
Image is important, I guess.
She's not all Image, though. Her songs are lovely. A real landscape painter in sound.
Painter in what?
She travels the world, turning the sights she sees into music. That's the secret to your music's beauty, right?
Sorry, give me a sec. His music is very vibey, you know?
You're very perceptive. Oh, I use your songs all the time in my stage act. I don't have to pay royalties for that, do I?
Stop while you're ahead, Trucy.
This landscape painter in sound, too, is an image. Yet without it, my songs would not be so widely heard. They even call you the Siren of the Ballad, right? Yes. In Borginian, Lemroar means the siren. I fear that perhaps already I'm not the siren I once was.
Sounds like an underwater level in a game. Yeah, I could see that.
Your pianist, Machi, was it? He's cute, like a porcelain doll.
He's very European.
I met him while singing in restaurants in Borginia. He's an orphan, yet his playing is exquisite. Soon he came to live with me. It's like a fairy tale, almost.
I noticed he hardly leaves your side.
Yes, well, he is blind. At first I hesitated at dragging him across the world.
Doesn't speak English either, does he?
He had never left Borginia before we met. I made his presence part of my contract. Machi and I together are Lemroar. Together, always. Mr. Latouche. He was my new manager.
New?
Yes, from 3 months ago. Around when I received Mr. Gavin's invitation to come. I met Mr. Latouche in my office. He was to be my manager and bodyguard. And, as it turned out, my interpreter.
Interpreter? Even though you speak English?
Yes, but we were to visit more places than just here. We had a concert in Japan scheduled after this one. Though I fear that that may have to be cancelled now. Was Mr. Latouche from the Republic of Borginia too? Well, he was only with me for 3 months. I'm afraid there's much I do not know about him. And now, I shall never know. No one will even tell me why he's died.
I'm sorry. Prosecutor Gavin said we weren't to talk to anyone.
Mr. Latouche was a talented man. The Siren of the Ballad. That phrase was his idea, you know? I'm happy for him that it's become so well known.
A siren. That's what he meant.
Huh? Apollo?
You are the siren, right, Lemroar?
That is the meaning of my name in Borginian, yes. It was the name my producer gave me, but why do you ask?
It's very important. I had to know for sure if the siren was you.
What do you mean, important?
I'll tell you. You deserve to know. Siren. Turns out that's a very important word in this case.
Ow!
We found Mr. Latouche. He was still alive.
What?
I heard him say something. His last words. Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? Ask witness. Hang in there, Mr. Latouche. Tell me, who is the witness? Witness is siren.
He said siren. Really?
I was the only one there to hear it, but I'm sure that's what he said.
Mr. Latouche said that? Ask the witness.
And you're the siren, Lemroar. Did you see what happened? Lemar?
Might I ask, are you with the police?
Well, no. I'm a defense attorney.
An attorney? Yet there have been no arrests, yes?
Is that a problem?
Does an attorney not work for a client? If you have no client, you should leave the investigation to the police, I think. But, Lemar, I am sorry, but I cannot answer your questions. I'm afraid you lack the authority to ask them.
Why? If she witnessed the crime, why won't she tell us?
I believe we're through here.
I believe so. Where am I supposed to be going? Would you mind taking a look at this, Lemur?
I'm sorry. I'm not sure what to say. I wish I could help you.
Don't worry about it. Certainly one of the most pleasant refusals I've had. That reminds me. Does this brooch look familiar to you?
My brooch? Yes, well, it may be mine.
Yours, Lemur?
I was wearing a brooch earlier, you see. I must have lost it. Well, that explains the brooch we found. It was Lemur's. Thank you. I was wondering where I dropped it.
So this brooch belongs to her. That begs the question.
Is something wrong, Apollo?
What was this brooch doing at the crime scene? I'm just going through all the evidence to cover my bases. Whoa! Who's in there now?
Ah, it's you. Where were you?
Emma. Something wrong? Looks grumpier than usual.
You bet something's wrong. The impossible has happened. It's all your fault, you know.
Oops, maybe this is about us leaving the crime scene.
What do you mean by impossible? Well, it's gone. Utterly gone. What's gone? The body, stupid. What else? Mr. Latous's body has disappeared. What?
Ah, Prosecutor Gavin. From your vacant stare, I gather you've heard the news. I heard Mr. Latous's body has gone missing. Look for yourself. Quite the pickle. Quite the pickle.
How can you just stand there? We have to start the
There's no need for alarm, Fraulein Detective. All entrances and exits have been sealed. the body will not leave the building. So I suggest we go find ourselves a cadaver. There will be plenty of time to ponder the whys later.
Well, you seem pretty sure of yourself, Mr. Gavin.
Oh, we'll find him. I'm rather enjoying this. How could Mr. Latous's body just disappear?
Well, you heard the man. Let's get searching.
Hey, I don't know if this is exactly the right time, but... Yes, Darian? See, Geeter's gone missing. He was in the dressing room.
Geeter? Who's Geeter?
That's what I call my guitar. You like, man? Your guitar was stolen.
This hasn't been a good day for guitars or Geeters.
Okay, body first, then guitar. And if someone finds that guitar, please bring it to our dressing room. You're like a missing person, not lost and found, man.
Well, this sure is what did he call it? A sausage? No, wait, it was a pickle. And it's your pickle. I told you to stay in the room.
Sorry. Not much else I can say.
It's alright. Top priority now is finding that body. You can make it up to me later. 10 bags or so of chocolate snack-hoo should do the trick nicely.
You should watch your sugar intake, Emma.
Does something seem different to you, Apollo?
Something's definitely different here.
Let's check it out. That stage there must have been lowered before.
That's the tower that Limor and Prosecutor Gavin were singing on.
Someone must have raised it. I don't see a way to control it from here. Apollo, what about that ladder there against the wall? We could use that to take a look up top.
Maybe we should get Emma.
What are you talking about? We have to see this sort of thing for ourselves.
I'm not so good with heights.
Stop whining and start climbing.
Didn't look that high from below, really. When we got to the top, I felt every one of those 15 feet down. Of course, I wasn't thinking about the height anymore. Not after what we found up there. And two things we were looking for, and one thing we never expected to find. Body, guitar in hand. The pianist. Hachi Tobaye. Tobai? I don't know. Hachi Tobaye. He shredded so hard he died. Wow, that concert last night sure went south in a hurry.
No kidding. Why did they arrest Amachi? Why?
Don't look at me like it's my fault. Hachi Tobai, the blind pianist. Arrested on suspicion of murdering Romain Letouce.
I can't believe such a cute little boy could do something so horrible.
I guess they had proof of some kind.
What proof could possibly prove that?
Morning. Prosecutor Gavin. What a night, eh? I apologize for being so upset.
Mr. Gavin, do you know what's going on? Why did they arrest Amachi? Why?
Don't look at him like it's his fault either. It was tough for me too. We performed together that night after all, yet.
Yet?
The powers that be say that given the circumstances, it could have only been him. What do you mean by the circumstances? Lemror was invited from Borginia as an ambassador of goodwill. It is vital that this case be wrapped up swiftly. That is all the powers that be want, really. Well, those are circumstances, alright. But what makes Machi the only possible suspect? Air forehead. You seem to have forgotten you're talking to the prosecution. The enemy. Ah, right. I think I like this side of Prosecutor Gavin better, actually. I am not at liberty to discuss the particulars of the case. Especially not to the defense attorney. What? Did you just say me, the defense attorney? That's what I came to tell you. He's down at the detention center. He wants to request your services. You mean Machi? She wants me?
This is what we've been waiting for, Apollo. Let's get going.
Right. Good luck. I'm off to question Lemror. Right, later. I hope I'm up to this.
Well, I just don't get it. I refuse to believe a cute little kid could do something so horrible.
You said that already.
Machi, everything's going to be okay. We're here for you.
Hi. Maybe you can tell me about last night.
Huh?
It was when I realized how tough it must be. A little kid like this. In a country so far from everything he's ever known.
Maybe Lemror can help.
Didn't Prosecutor Gavin say she was with him? Good luck. I'm off to question Lemror.
Well, what are we gonna do?
That's, a good question. I can't think of anything we can do but go with this. And hope for the best at trial tomorrow. Wow, we really ended half an hour away from a to be continued. Also, give me a sec. What is now in session for... How do I say that? Machi Tobai... Your Honor, the pixie of the arpeggio. Right, his trial. What is now in session? Defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is A-OK, Air Judge. Yo, hey Shep, how are you doing? Let me give you a shout out real quick. Oh wait, it's E-O. Yeah, how was your stream? What were you streaming? For those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Maddie. I'm a variety streamer. I play lots of visual novels and RPGs.
And I've been told that I have a really good voice.
Just played some Ultra Kill. Nice. Very well. Prosecutor Gavin.
My opening statement, yeah?
Oh no, actually, that was something else I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes.
They are going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease. What do you say to them?
Eh?
And you wouldn't say get well soon, right? You'll only be kicking them when they're down. What are you talking about? Actually, I'm going to visit someone who's terminally ill. Right after this trial. Chief Justice's son.
The Chief Justice?
This is very, like...
Okay, enjoy your self-care, Shep. I appreciate the raid.
I don't even know what the judge is on about, like, genuinely, this... Son is afflicted with a most terrible disease. Doesn't have long, it seems.
Ah.
Well, I thought I'd go pay him a visit. I thought saying something moving might be the order of the day.
Why don't grown-ups ever just say what's going on in their mind instead of pretending?
He's looking at me with something like disgust. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for? Any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly. I've seen all possible realities, and this is the reality where you will make a full recovery. Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement, briefly.
You're in luck, Air Judge. I believe you'll be going to your hospital visit sooner than you think. First, to review the victim in this case. Romain Letus, age 35. The global manager for diva songstress Lemroar. The cause of death, blood loss due to being shot by a large caliber. Gosh, Gavin, why is your voice so hard for me to do? By a large caliber revolver. This report has all the details.
Court accepts this into evidence. .5 caliber. That's quite large, isn't it? A tit from that could knock a man off his feet.
However, the bullet struck him in his shoulder. The damage to the body was slight. Death was not immediate. Sadly, his blood loss was such that he could not be saved.
I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse, considering.
2 shots were fired. 1 shot missed, the other penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Both bullets were found in the wall at the scene. Observe the diagram. This is where the bullets hit.
I see. Court accepts this evidence. We're talking about a .45 caliber revolver. Must assume that the killer was adept at the weapon's use.
Really?
Yeah, apparently weapons that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tried to fire one, it'd break every bone in his body. Things will take more care in choosing examples.
As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in a dressing room. This dressing room has only one entrance. This door.
That does seem to be the case, yes.
However, there were witnesses who heard the gunshots.
He's talking about you and Emma, huh?
Yet, when the witnesses entered the room,
It was empty, save for the victim's body, of course. But it's impossible. Exactly. This murder was impossible. For all but one person. One person? That is, of course, the defendant, Machi Tobae. Only this defendant could have committed the crime. But how? It's quite simple. The circumstances of the crime scene make it clear. Very well, I assume you have testimony to back up this claim. Please show the witness to the stand. Your name and profession, please.
Emma Skye. I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at the concert for him that night.
Emma seems tired somehow. Security at the concert, you say?
Some security I was. Couldn't even stop a murder.
No, don't blame yourself. Things like this happen. I've made even bigger mistakes in my career, you know. I'm sure that makes her feel much better.
I want to hear about these bigger mistakes.
In any case, because you were on security detail, the crime was quickly discovered. And we were able to identify the killer. You may give the court your testimony if you would. Describe the circumstances of that day and your discovery of the crime, please.
All right.
Emma just doesn't want to be here. She spends every day dreading, like, having to interact with Clavier.
The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. I went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it.
Was lucky that a detective was the first one on the scene.
But that door is the only way out of the room, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Then I don't get it. How can they say that Machi did it?
Looks like we need a bit more information. Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination. Okay.
The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request.
Hold it! Night of the murder was the night of the concert, yes?
That's right.
Was the detective... or what was the detective doing on security detail, might I ask? If it was only a concert.
My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock gods.
Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, allow me to explain. I smelled something that day. You might say, the stench of conspiracy. That day at the concert hall... Conspiracy? Well, isn't it obvious? My keys. That whole morning, no, the whole day was ruined. It's all because someone stole my keys. I couldn't ride my hog to the show. I couldn't open my guitar case.
There he goes again.
Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them? Misplaced them? Misplaced items don't just wander into murder victims' hand on their own. What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if your keys were in the victim's hand, it makes you a prime suspect. Love, slow acting and new. What? What is this word? Atraquinine? Is waiting for you.
He's singing something.
Does everything with this guy have to be so over the top? Yep, it's Ace Attorney, buddy. You live in a very over the top universe. The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was like a sailor adrift on the sea of sound. Anyway, I didn't want anything else stolen. So I put the detective with the most time on their hands on the task. I see, I can accept that.
Well, I can't. What do you mean the most time on their hands?
Please to the testimony. Sorry, give me a sec.
Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage.
Hold it! We were let in, though.
I didn't know about that. I certainly didn't invite you.
I gave the Fräulein special permission to be there. I wanted to see her again.
Oh boy, did you hear that? We're officially involved now.
Gee, great. Sorry I keep having to pause, but like...
And some other hangers-on have tried to get backstage, but I drove them off.
So no other outsiders were there then?
And then, at the beginning of the third set, I heard shots.
Hold it! I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots.
You were the one chatting. I was eating snackoos.
Ah, hey, no snacking in court. And you're sure the shots came from Lamrore's room? Yes, absolutely.
Hey, I'm the one being cross-examined here. Here, this'll keep you quiet.
Ah, thanks. So, how about it, Emma?
We were right there. Hard to be mistaken about that.
Please either talk or eat, not both at the same time.
Right, so after that, me and Mr. Lawyer there opened the dressing room door. I went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body.
Hold it! Rock?
Blaring, yes.
Hey, rock, are you referring, perhaps? Is rock and roll music that's so popular these days? That's right, when we went into the dressing room. Music was blaring over the speaker on the wall.
They piped sound from the stage into the backstage through the speakers. That way people in the back hear when they're supposed to be on stage.
Did it have to be so loud? You don't listen to the governors with your ears. You feel it with your entire body and soul. I always have the backstage monitors at full volume.
When we walked in the room, the band was playing Guilty Love, I believe, making it easy to determine the crime or the time of the crime.
You can hear that music playing. Then everyone on stage for that song has an alibi, including myself.
Anyway, I closed off the scene and started my investigation. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it.
Hold it! How could you know something like that?
As I said, it was clear from the circumstances. Listen, we know there is only one exit from that room, that door. The small window only opened a tiny crack, and I was standing in front of that door. So how could the killer have fled the scene? There's only one possibility, the air vent.
Ah. Objection! But that air vent was too small. Who could possibly?
Exactly.
Who are we defending? The child. The piano-playing child. It's not Lemroar.
There's certainly no way you could get through, nor me.
Yes, we are. They are in fact accusing the blind child of firing a .45 caliber pistol at a man 4 times his size.
The only one who could fit through was a child.
A child.
Remember, access to those rooms was limited. Only those involved with the concert were allowed.
And of all the people involved with the concert, only one is big enough to be considered a child, or small enough. Defendant? The pixie of the arpeggio flitted up towards the sky and disappeared from the scene of the crime. Objection! But that's just conjecture. Oh, there was no other way out of the room. You were there, you should know, Air Forehead.
And...
Sorry, give me a sec.
And there's another vital piece of evidence.
Evidence? What?
Marks were found on the air vent grill, and traces that it had recently been opened.
Wait, what?
And something else was found quite clearly. The defendant, Machi Tobaye's fingerprints.
What? Look at that sassy stance. Order, order, order.
That air vent was the only way out of the room.
The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, Air Forehead, what fairy tale does this suggest to you? Only one could pass through that vent, that doorway to heaven. And that one is our pixie.
Why are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was out whipping it up in the audience. In the audience, man.
So this was his decisive evidence. Quite decisive indeed. I believe that's enough of that. Prosecution has a rather convincing case. The only way in and out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Definitely, like, people hate this case. And while I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, like, there are so many plot holes in this case. How could Machi fire the gun? How would he know where to aim when firing the gun? Why do they not suspect that somebody shot through the window in the back of the room? Like, I believe we've heard enough to determine our verdict. Even if I wasn't in a hurry to make a hospital visit. I'm sure the Chief Justice will appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witnesses. Fortunately, the criminal left decisive evidence for us. That will have to be enough. Can't be over already. Very well, I believe this trial is finished. The defense has no contradicting evidence. The prosecution has presented our proof clear and plain. If you have contradicting evidence, it had better be clear and plain.
Apollo, they've got us on the ropes already. We'd better come up with something quick.
I know. Think. What can get us out of this? My brain combined the word think and the W and what, and it made me think that he said twink. We need evidence or a witness that can prove Machi is innocent beyond a doubt. Without that... Oh. Mr. Justice, you have contradicting proof that can overturn the prosecution's case. You'd better tell us about it now. This is it. It's so soon. If I mess this one up, it's all over. The court wants contradicting proof. Oh cool, I can save here. Prosecutor Gavin, you claim that there were no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure? Absolutely. I'd swear it on my career as a prosecutor. And on my million-seller hit song. At your quinine? My love.
There he goes again.
That's too bad, because there was a witness. Oh, really now? How did you come to possess knowledge of the prosecution clearly does not? Because I'm the only one in the world who knows this. What's going on? talked to him and now... He's alive. Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? Cold. So cold. Witness. You're cold. Don't worry, you're going to be fine. Help us on the way. Can't see. Hang in there, Mr. Latouche. Tell me, who was the witness? Witness is... Siren. What? The victim said this before he died. Perhaps he did, and perhaps he did not. What do you mean by that? All we know is what Herr Forehead says he said. It's no testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself. Objection! But it's the truth. He said it. I even told you about it. But apparently you ignored me completely. It's my policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Clearly, this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job. That's enough. Mr. Justice, we need clear contradictory proof from you. It's a witness of yours unbeknown or under the prosecution. I hope you're right. Failure carries a stiff penalty. Perhaps a stiffer penalty than usual is called for. There's no backing out now. Let's hear the name of your witness, Mr. Justice. Take that! Lemroar? Recall Mr. Latouche's last words. Witness is Siren. Siren? Aha! And the Siren. That's right. Siren of the ballad, Lemroar. Lemroar was only on stage for the second set. And she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness. I see. Well, Prosecutor Gavin? My claim still stands. There was no witness to this crime. Very well. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We'll now take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show Lemroar to the witness stand. Lemroar would say nothing the night of the murder. Not today, though. Today we'll drag that story out of her, no matter what it is. It is my distinct honor to welcome the Siren of the Ballad to our courtroom.
You are too kind.
You can speak English.
Yes, I can. Though I'm not very good. There's much I do not know.
You speak so well. You spent time here before.
Actually, I do not know how I came by my knowledge of your language. Nor where I studied it.
What does she mean she doesn't know? I too sought to call her as a witness, but I did not. I had a reason, of course. What's that? Lemroar suffered from amnesia. Amnesia?
Lemroar is not my true name. Yet I remember nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage. Whoa! She's even more mysterious than I thought.
As lauded singer Lemroar, she lives a good life. There are little difficulties for her thanks to her success. Yet, I did not wish to subject her to unnecessary stress. I see. I care surprisingly little about people's pasts. There's nothing to fear in this court, Lemroar.
Thank you. Yet, there's something I do not understand. I'm being called as a witness. What might I say? No one will tell me anything of what happened.
Lemroar, let me be frank. I did not want to ask you to come up here and testify. Yet, that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was adamant you stand.
Oh my. Congratulations, Apollo. You're the bad guy.
Ugh. I don't know what you're, I don't know the case that you're specifically talking about, Sachi, but I do know that there is, I do know that Dual Destinies has some very heavily traumatized characters in it, though. That's, like, the only bit that I actually, like, know about Dual Destinies, is that, like, Dual Destinies has an M rating for a reason. Well, now that you're here, please give us your testimony. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome. Tell us what you saw the night of the crime. Wait. Okay. I just had an idea. I wonder if the murder actually happened during Lemrar's set. And the gunshots that we heard were someone faking gunshots to make witnesses.
As for what I saw nothing. That night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I did not return backstage after the second set. And then I was led by police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. That was where I had learned that something had happened, but I wasn't told the details.
I must say, you sound wonderful, just testifying. Hope he was too distracted to hear what she was actually saying. There you have it. She saw nothing that night. Now we can only pray that the defense has the sense to admit the defeat. Yeah. And refrain from detaining her here longer than need be.
Wow, you just got better, Apollo. Way to go.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it short and sweet. Lemrar wouldn't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I've got to find out what.
As for what I saw nothing.
Hold it! But you must have seen something. Mr. Latouche named you.
Mr. Latouche, how can I tell you what I don't know?
Lemrar, he said you were witness with his dying words.
I do not know what he meant to say, but that night I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did.
Hold it! It was a great concert.
You heard me sing? Thank you.
I was hoping to get an autograph later, actually.
Of course.
Justice, this is a cross-examination. We're out of line. If anyone deserves an autograph here, it's me. One on my gavel would be nice. And a judge. What's this? It's my autograph. Now keeps this trial moving. What? Oh, my grandchild will be so happy. Apparently his grandson is a big fan. Let us continue, shall we? If you would, Lemrar. Tell us what you did after your stellar performance.
I did not return backstage after the second set.
Hold it!
Lemur's voice just is going through like 25 different... All of them, Sachi. You did not return backstage once? Where were you then? What were you doing?
I was cleaning up on stage. There are many things I must do for a performance other than simply sing.
And was Machi with you at the time?
Unfortunately, I do not know where he was.
So much for an alibi for Machi.
And then I was led to the police, led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there.
Hold it!
With Machi, correct? How was he then?
He seemed as he always does. Though I believe he was shocked by the news of Mr. Latous's death. Yet, he's not the type to show much emotion.
Yes, he's given the police no end of headaches. He answers most questions with silence, and those glinting frames speak nothing. The questioning hasn't gotten very far.
We sat there, waiting. That was where I learned that something had happened, but I wasn't told the details.
Hold it!
How was the incident explained to you?
I was told nothing in detail, only that Mr. Latous died.
Of course, investigations require some secrecy.
But Mr. Latous was my manager. I wanted to know more. I should have been told. Both Machi and I were beside ourselves with concern.
Allow me to apologize, but please understand. Keeping you in the dark was as painful for me as it was for you.
Yes, I understand.
Think, what doesn't ring true about her testimony?
It's hard to imagine Lemur lying.
She might not be lying, but she's hiding something. What wouldn't she tell me the night of the murder? See, this feels like the most definably incorrect. No. Oh. Smooth-brained moment.
Objection!
I'm sorry, Lemuror, but I'm having trouble believing you. You remember this brooch, do you not? Why, that's Lemuror's. Oh, wait. She was wearing it for her song. Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin? What? This brooch was found after the murder took place. At the very scene of the crime. What? Lemuror, how did your brooch get backstage if you didn't go there yourself? And, as Prosecutor Gavin has just told us, you had been wearing it during your performance that night. What's the meaning of this? Lemuror, please explain. I love that her veil, when it flips up in front of her, is a question mark. Lemuror? Hey, Not, how are you doing? She says English is quite difficult. That trick's not gonna work here. Your forehead may be large, but you are a lawyer, truly. But you've missed one important fact. What now? In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment. Still hot. You've been through like 2 liters of water today? Oof. What? Think back to the moment of the crime. You know whereof I speak. She really saying all that?
What you talking about, Apollo?
Right when the incident occurred. Ugh. She talking about that?
Watch this room for me. I have to call backup.
Right, understood. You want me to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? Cold. So cold. Witness. You're cold? Don't worry. You're gonna be fine. Help is on the way. The witness is... Siren. Siren? How can a siren witness anything? Yipes, Emma. What was that? Who's there?
What's wrong?
Emma? Did you see anyone just now?
Huh? No.
Could have sworn I heard a door close.
I looked into the room. Just a glance, mind you.
So this was when your brooch was dropped. That explains that.
It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it.
That's ridiculous. Only looked in for an instant, but you dropped your brooch? Her forehead. She has raised a possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence. She looked in at the crime scene.
Actually, I intended to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course. But the moment I opened the door, I heard a terrible voice.
Her forehead shouting who's there, no doubt. A horrible voice indeed. Ugh.
I closed the door immediately.
Well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to your testimony. That's too convenient. She's hiding something. Lemroar, you did look into the room though, right?
Yes.
Testify as to what you saw.
Very well. Though it was only the briefest of glimpses. When my performance was finished, I went backstage for just a moment.
Also, we have access to... focus. I don't have access... I can't see your hands. Just gonna keep a look at her face real quick. Okay, so when my performance was finished, I went backstage for just a moment.
Hold it!
What did you see in that brief glimpse?
I had only opened the door slightly when I heard that horrible voice.
My voice for Lemroar is all over the place, I'm sorry. Shut the door. I have always wondered, Air Forehead. Does that voice of yours lack a volume knob?
Apollo, I know Lemroar is pretty and all, but you're staring too hard.
My cords of steel, man. Just back off. Wait, how would you know that?
I saw nothing. The late Mr. Latouche's body was behind a wall.
Hold it!
A wall. Is there a wall there?
Is what in English?
A division or partition, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, I know that meme. Not. It was a large dressing room divided in two halves. Murder took place in the inside half. Guess that partition might have hidden the body. Huh. I need to, like... You know, I will say I was bitching about this earlier, and I'm glad that I just have access to perceive currently. I'm looking for like an eye twitch or something. That's the only thing I can really think of. This? Okay. I might have skipped out. Because, like... Think, what doesn't ring true about her testimony?
It's hard to imagine Lambert lying.
Oh, yeah, I've already read this. Wait, what was that last bit? What wouldn't she tell me the night of the murder? I do kind of wish I could zoom. Have I not pressed the bit about Gavin's dressing room? With Machi, correct? How is he then? Yep, I've already done this. Because this is just correct. Like, she shouldn't have been able to see it. From the door, anyway. Oh, whoops. Wrong button. Interesting. I don't know if... I wonder if I'm just... I wonder if I'm not supposed to be, trying to perceive stuff right now. Huh.
Hold it!
Because she's not... The issue is that she's not claiming to have seen anything. Let's go through each of the statements with perceive and see if we catch anything. But, like... It's a very short statement. Yeah, that's because I pressed X to pause the dialogue. You can pause it for a sec by pressing X. Because the way that the perceive works is it works off of testimony chunks. Like, you'll see as it reads, it highlights the current chunk in red. And so, you're supposed to press X to perceive on the chunk that you need, because it'll freeze the testimony in place and, give you the chance to, like, confirm. Honestly, I wonder if it's just something that's not... I wonder if it's not something that's on her face. Look at her collarbones. Okay, I wonder if I'm just not supposed to be fucking around with Perceive currently. In that brief glimpse, I'd only opened the door slightly when I heard a horrible voice.
Objection!
Yeah, I figured as much. I figured it wasn't that. We're going on Apollo's Wild Perceive ride. Oh, it's her swallowing. Okay.
Gotcha!
The late Mr. Latouse's body, you say?
Yes.
You know something more about Mr. Latouse's death than you're saying.
What?
I could see you trying not to remember, but the effort made you swallow. You can't fool my eyes.
It is true. It was so terrible after all. Why did Mr. Latouse have to be shot?
One moment, Lemrar.
Yes?
What was that you just said? Why did Mr. Latouse have to be shot?
Yes?
She was hiding something. I knew it. Lemrar, I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but your words just now contradict your testimony.
How could that be?
Take this. Lemrar contradicted her own testimony, and I have the evidence to prove it. It's this, right?
Take that!
Tell me, Lemrar. How did you know he had been shot?
Well,
Immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on the scene. This is the document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court. No one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. Yet you knew that Mr. Latouse had been shot. How could you have known?
yeah.
Roar! You aren't hiding something from this court, I hope. The sweet song of hers was sounding just a little too sweet.
Now I remember. Please, allow me to add to my testimony.
Of course. All we want to know is the truth.
She looks kind of pale, huh?
She saw something. I know it. Even the victim said so.
I saw bullet holes in the wall and knew Mr. Latouche had been shot.
I think I'm supposed to present the diagram here because the door opens in the wrong direction for her to be able to see it. The door opens in to the right, and the bullet holes are behind the door.
Objection!
Lemrar, they call you the Siren of the Ballad, but lies are hardly becoming of such a creature. Down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice.
Such put-downs are hardly becoming of you, Apollo.
Stop polishing your forehead and start polishing your character, yeah? Come on, can't I be cool for once? Observe the diagram. Lemrar, you looked in from the door for just a moment, correct?
Yes, that is so.
There were bullet holes in the room, yes? But they were on the wall the door is on. You see? Assuming you merely glanced into the room. Don't worry, Apollo, you'll be cool in like 2 games. He gets to be a JoJo character in Dual Destinies. Assuming you merely glanced into the room, you couldn't have seen those bullet holes.
Yeah.
Lemrar,
Yes.
afraid the defense has raised a good point. Appears you've been holding back something.
And I must tell you what it is that I saw.
Yes. Happenings in this trial are being recorded. I'm certain it will be on the news in Borginia. Understand your reputation is at stake. Falls to you to avoid tarnishing it. Yeah, it's great. Personally speaking, I still believe that cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing. But she knew how Mr. Latouche died, and he named her as a witness. You must have seen something, Lemrar. Very well. Lemrar, please continue your testimony.
Very well, I shall.
I have to admit, that perceived bit had me stumped for a little bit. Probably because I was just way too focused on the face.
I was on my way back from the stage to the backstage exit. And there was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. And there were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Machi. It was a grown person. I know it was.
You did witness the crime. Killer was a grown person, you say? Ugh. This is my first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice play, Air Forehead. Very well, Mr. Justice. May begin your cross-examination.
Great going, Apollo. You were right about Lemrar. What's wrong? You don't look too happy.
This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. Her looking through the window looked like a shitpost.
I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit.
Hold it!
So you were heading toward the dressing room.
Yes.
So this is a little before she opened the dressing room door and dropped her brooch. About the same time Emma and I heard those shots.
I was on my way back. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it.
What exactly is something like a little window?
Yes, well, window is the best word I know in English. I think this is how it's said, yes?
You need not worry, Lemurr. Your choice of words is impeccable. There is a small window in the dressing room in question. Perhaps the defense remembers this detail. A little window on the wall. looking closer at this does look like a shitpost. especially if the text box wasn't here and it's just Lemurr's face with "Do not open" next to the window.
I saw the crime from there. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it.
Hold it!
You're certain you heard 2 shots fired?
Yes, quite certain. I was on my way to the backstage exit. This was when I heard a faint sound, like a gunshot. Wondering what it had been, I peered through the window. That is when I heard the second gunshot. Much closer.
There were 2 bullet holes at the scene. No contradictions so far.
It all happened on the other side of that window. There was nothing I could do. But it wasn't Machi.
Hold it!
It wasn't Machi who shot. Are you sure?
Yes, quite certain.
It amuses me that you would question her testimony. It is testimony in your favor. Isn't it my job to object?
Yeah, Apollo, what were you thinking?
Trucy, let's just listen to what Lemurr has to say. Can you tell me how you were so sure?
Yes, of course. You see, it was a grown person. I know it was.
Hold it!
A grown person? That's a little vague.
I am sorry. My skill with your language is lacking, I know.
Well, you could at least see whether the shooter was male or female.
It was a man. A young man.
You're sure of that?
Yes, his voice was quite clear.
Voice. Looking at this diagram, it seems the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely that you wouldn't have had a clear view of the shooter.
As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. When I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man.
And so you heard a voice. But wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latouche?
Absolutely not. Did I not just say that I do not forget a voice? If it was Mr. Latouche who spoke, I would have known.
Indeed. You were at the window and you heard the shooter's voice. The voice of a young man.
Apollo, this is a good testimony. And that proves it wasn't Machi.
Indeed. This turns out to be true. It would cast this case in a considerably different light. What is the defense's opinion of this testimony? Very good. Well, I'd have to say it's pretty good. Vital, even. This shows that the shooter wasn't Machi. Huh. Surely you can't be serious, Air Forehead. Why not? Lemurr, I understand why you would want to protect Machi. Yet remember, you are the siren of the ballad. And lies do not become such a creature. What does the prosecution mean?
Apollo, what's he talking about?
No one bats an eye when he says stuff like that. I recall the state of the crime scene quite well. State of the room. Yes, and then the murder took place. That window was closed. I find it hard to believe you could hear a voice through it.
What? But I'm sure.
Lemror, I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense. But my opinion of you as a witness is somewhat lesser.
Objection!
But she's the only eyewitness we have.
Objection!
So you say. And the victim named her, the Siren, as the witness? That's right. That's what Mr. Latouche... We heard your claim. We even entertained the possibility, and it brought us to this. Herr Judge. Yes? The prosecution requested the witness be excused. Please. But I must honor the prosecution's request. It is indeed a question of the witness's credibility. But if Lemror can't testify...
Then we don't have then we don't have a chance of proving Machi's innocence.
Cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Gavin, you may continue making your case. Thank you. Now, where were we? Ah, yes. I would like to hear from Fraulein Detective again.
Objection!
Wait, let me hear Lemur's testimony one last time. The cross-examination is already over. Till such a time as need arises, this witness may leave the stand.
I'm sorry I could not be of more assistance.
At last, back to the real trial. Ready, Air Forehead? Hope I didn't just miss my only chance. Fraulein Detective, how far had we gotten up until we were so rudely interrupted?
Don't ask me.
I dislike saying the same thing twice. And I never repeat a song for an encore. You would, Miss Sky?
I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latouche's killer could have escaped was through that air vent on the ceiling.
Ah yes, there was only one door in the room. Witness, you were standing in front of it.
That air vent isn't very big, you see. Kinda limits the people who could possibly get through.
I certainly would have a difficult time.
You sure would. Not that you would have been there in the first place, though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved in the concert. And the only one who meets the conditions for our killer is the defendant.
A virtuoso performance. I couldn't have put it better myself. It does state a clear case. Oh, reading the report, something caught my eye. Oh, what's that? Yeah. Circumstances of the defendant's arrest. Circumstances? Again?
Hey, that's right, Apollo. Remember when we found Machi? It was bizarre.
She's right. Why did Mr. Latouche's body disappear from the room? And end up on top of that stage tower? Holding a guitar, no less. A perceptive observation, Herr Judge. Thanks. It was kind of an accident, really. You work in this job long enough. And it knows for things.
The judge sure seems pleased with himself.
Very good, Fraulein Detective. Perhaps you could tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved? And how does that lead us to the killer? Ugh. Gosh, why am I getting hit with the tired eepee?
I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match Lemur's song. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim. And Machi practically left his signature at the scene. All of this evidence clearly points to the defendant.
Roar's song? Don't mind me, I'm just yawning. Ugh. Yes, the guitar Serenade. You know that it's code too, did you not? It's code. All the events that day were followed the lyrics to our song. First, the keys to my heart, held on so tightly, were stolen. Then Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Latous's life was taken by a bullet. The rest hardly needs explanation. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. That's mad. Like a story out of some fairy tale. I admit, I'd forgotten about the song. But there it is now, waiting for me. Grand finale, as it were.
Hey, you know I was the only, I was the one who noticed, who first noticed that.
I've heard of jumping rope to songs and counting to songs. Killing. It's a wild world out there, Judge. Very well. Heard one song and dance. Let's get to the next, the cross-examination. I'm not so sure I'm gonna be doing much singing. You know, I don't know if Apollo strikes anyone else like this, but Apollo strikes me as a choir kid. Judge, have you heard of a song by the Beatles called Helter Skelter?
I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics.
Hold it!
That wasn't your voice, but okay. Who would steal a body just to match some lyrics?
I didn't believe it myself, but it can't just be a coincidence.
It is as Fraulein Detective says. Let us begin with the first verse, if you would, Fraulein Detective.
What? You want me to sing it?
You are the witness, yeah? Or did you want me to sing? I warn you, my fee as a vocalist is not trivial.
Fine, fine. Let's look at the first part of the lyric, shall we? When you stole away the keys to my heart, held on to so tight.
Indeed. My favorite heart-shaped keyring was stolen that morning.
Next we go to the right page of the lyric sheet, where we find, burning on in my heart, fire, burn my love away, all away. As we know, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. Like a bullet of love, fire, take my life away, all away. Mr. Latous's life was taken by a bullet.
Bravo, Fraulein Detective. Your singing, it's not bad. Now, for the finale. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. As it says in the lyrics, Mr. Latouche. It was found with a guitar, high in the sky over the stage. But that's out of order, Clavier. No series of coincidences could be so well conceived.
He's right, scientifically speaking.
What would Waki have said? That concert was whack?
It's hard to argue when she pours her heart into it like that. Anyway, the shooter. He moved the body to match Lamar's song.
Wow, that was all from one press? Wow.
Hold it!
Oh, whoops.
He moved the body to match Lamar's song.
Does the prosecution have any idea why he'd do all this?
You want my scientific opinion? No clue. But he clearly had a reason to go through all that trouble. Some deep reason.
A deep reason? Not only did he steal my keys, he torched my guitar. Unforgivable acts, even if he had a reason. And worse if he had none.
The Diva's complaints aside, I can't just imagine someone doing this just on a whim.
For a detective, I take offense at that description. Indeed, it does seem too well rehearsed, shall we say.
Yes, this crime was planned for sure. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim.
Hold it!
But Mr. Latouche spoke English. He may have come to this country before.
I looked into that, I assure you.
Ow.
It was his first time in the country, it seems. Apparently, he learned English on his own.
Great. You see, no one here had a motive to kill him, and certainly not in such an elaborate fashion. Does seem difficult to imagine.
Unless our famous prosecutor did it as a publicity stunt.
What did you say? Prosecutor Gavin did this to promote your song. Of course not. And I am quite dismayed by the ludicrous nature of her claim. Why would I need promotion? Everybody already listens to my music.
They're even in my textbook at school.
I'd never heard of him. What does that say about me?
I was just kidding. Don't get all worked up, Glimmer Boy.
You know, I really like Emma and Clavier's dynamic. It's a good dynamic.
And Machi practically left his signature at the scene.
Hold it!
What do you mean by his signature?
The bullet holes in the wall, of course.
The bullet holes?
The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall.
That means what exactly?
That dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim in there. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would be difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range.
To miss, you say?
Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim.
No, you can't be serious.
Machi, he can't see. That's why he missed. It's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and other senses to fire the gun. Poorly.
That reminds me. The monitor in that room was blaring at the time, yeah? Hardly ideal conditions for tracking by sound. Blind shooter. No wonder he missed. Knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think, Justice, what do I do now? Sure, there were bullet holes left in the wall. But that doesn't prove the shooter couldn't see. Oh, how so? Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim. That's certainly possible. And It might have been the revolver's fault. Revolver? The revolver was a very large caliber, correct? The shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon. Why, it could dislocate their shoulder. Exactly. The defendant, Machi Tobae, is, as you can see, tiny. A blind sleeper agent child pianist activated by Clavier's guitar playing. It's not so hard to picture him firing the gun and missing entirely. The kickback alone would throw off his aim. It's an argument to be sure. Haha! Take that, smug prosecution.
Apollo.
Huh? What?
That bit about Machi being tiny, and the gun throwing off his aim. Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it?
Oh. It does not matter why he missed. What mattered is that the shooter was, without a doubt, the defendant. Even the defense seems to agree on that point. Cripes, I really put my foot in it this time. But, let's get the facts of the matter on the record. If you would, Fraulein Detective. Very well, the witness will add this to your testimony.
Right. From the state of the crime scene, I conclude the shooter was blind.
Sorry, give me a sec. Can you see why people find this case very frustrating? It's like literally everyone except for Apollo and Trucy are engaging in like top tier willful ignorance.
And from the state of the crime scene, I conclude the shooter was blind.
Hold it!
You can't say he was blind just because of those bullet holes in the wall. I think I've proven that.
I wouldn't call it proof, per se.
You've merely raised a possibility. Fraulein Detective has made a most logical conjecture based upon the evidence. So you admit that it's conjecture? Of course. There is more evidence than just bullet holes. The defendant was the only one who could have escaped through the air vent.
Objection!
But wait, if he was blind, how would he know, or how would he have known about the air vent in the first place? Ah, a very good point. Well, Fraulein Detective, if you would care to explain. He certainly seems sure of himself.
Recall the crime scene, if you would. There was a stepladder below the air vent. As it happens, maintenance was scheduled for that day. Custodial staff went around checking all the air vents.
I don't believe it.
Everyone backstage was told about the maintenance, including Machi Tobae. He would have known that there would be a way out at the top of that stepladder.
Why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? You could have figured it out for yourself. You only needed to consider what the stepladder was doing there. It's like the defense's objection has been squashed by a stepladder. Well, Air Forehead. Out of ammunition, perhaps? Never seen Prosecutor Gavin so aggressive. Maybe he's caught the scent of blood.
Apollo, don't you have something? Anything? You know what we need? We need something to prove the killer could see. And that'll put him in his place.
Proving the shooter was sighted would do it. That would take down one of their central points. Do I have any evidence that can prove that, though? Okay. The more I think about this, the more it's like, goddamn. This is really stupid. Because, okay. Riddle me this, Batman. How would Machi, as a blind child, be able to steal Clavier's keys off of his person, put a incendiary device inside of Clavier's guitar, fire a pistol that would most certainly dislocate his shoulder, and then carry a man 4 times his size onto the riser on the stage? There is no step of this logic that logically makes sense. Clearly this, you know, clearly this kid is actually like absolutely fucking ripped. Like, he's got to be carrying like an 8-pack or some shit, considering how much they like, how much they think he, you know, can carry. Okay, proving the shooter was sighted would do it. That would take down one of their central points. Oh, yeah, that's a good point, actually, Banana. He tried to write something, but it got smeared. Fine. I accept the prosecution's challenge. As I knew you would, Air Forehead. What exactly am I up against here? Prosecution is saying the shooter missed because they couldn't see. Therefore, Machi, who's blind, did it. Defense will please present their evidence. Evidence that overturns the prosecution's claim that the shooter couldn't see. Nope, that was the wrong thing. Not sure that overturns anything, Mr. Justice. Wrong evidence, I'm guessing. Apparently, both love and justice are blind. So good. What do we do? First, don't panic. Even though Machi's case is leaking water by the gallon, Gavin's on a roll, and it's up to me to stop him. No. Really? You kicked me all the way back out to the normal testimony? Also, can we talk about how there are also air vents above the mirrors that are significantly wider?
Hold it! Objection!
We have to go through this whole thing again. This is that evidence. Photograph of a crime scene. I don't care much for the smirk on Prosecutor Gavin's face. But this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. There's something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point. Then perhaps you'd best show us this something. Get your fingers out of the breeze and put it to good use, yeah? Sentences to be taken out of context. Very well, show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice. Contradiction at the scene of a crime is...
Take that!
The contradiction is right here.
And the smeared bloodstains.
I thought it was just my blurry vision. It really was blurry. The way the victim's hand is raised above his head. Much like a gesture I've seen many times in this court.
It's almost as if he wrote something. Aha! I get it. At least, I think I get it.
Get what, Fräulein?
When Mr. Latouche was shot, he tried to write something. And what would he write but the shooter's name? And what would he write it in but his own blood? Pretty good, huh?
Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here. That does seem to be a distinct possibility.
The victim wrote the killer's name. It's certainly a logical conclusion. Drat. I wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that.
Of course it's rubbed out. Why, if I were a killer, I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind. Neither would I. No one has anything else to say? About what? So the prosecution accepts this. You agree that this was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer. And that the killer tried to rub the name out.
What's your point?
What's my point? Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name?
Well, Mr. Latouche was writing in something blood. Once the killer saw what it was... Wait.
So you saw what it was. What did you just testify about the shooter?
I said they were blind.
Yet the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer had to have been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise? May I remind the court that the defendant Machi Tobaye is blind. He couldn't have been the shooter.
Impossible!
Yes, this is totally something that Emma should have thought of. Like, Emma is smarter than this. Order, order, order. Prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what this all means. I mean, looking at this photo, it seems quite clear that the shooter could see. Yet up till now... It seems I owe the court an apology. The governors are a band with law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred during our concert. Apparently, this caused some confusion over jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner. Oh god, are we gonna get an updated autopsy report moment? I'm not sure I like the vibe I'm getting here.
Hey, Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that? Like he knows something we don't. And he's about to tell us.
I've got an idea. Let's rock. With these documents. But before that, I have a question for the Fräulein detective. If I may.
What?
Tell me, why do you think that Machitobae is blind?
Huh?
What did he say?
What are you saying? Of course he's blind.
Of course.
He's the blind pianist, right? And so he's... Doesn't Lemur lead him around by the hand all the time?
No way. I have a report here on the defendant, Machitobae. According to this, Machitobae can see perfectly well.
What?
His blindness was merely a publicity ploy by those clever Borginians. He can see quite well.
Objection!
But you said... What did I say exactly? Air forehead. Not once in the course of this trial have I claimed the defendant was blind. The only one who did was the Fraulein detective. But that's a significant fact, yes. Consider, Machitobae sees, and he was the only one who could have fled through the air vent. I see no problems with this.
But what about the bullet holes in the wall?
Yes, the bullet holes. I believe Air Forehead neatly explains those for us. He didn't miss because he couldn't see. It was the kickback from the .45 caliber revolver. A simple accident, in other words. You know... Here's the thing. There's a part of me that's like, you know, compare this to Turnabout Big Top, you know? They're both bad cases. But like Turnabout Big Top's biggest issue is that it breaks the laws of physics. Like, that's the biggest issue with Turnabout Big Top. This one has so many logical errors. Like, this fucking case is all logical errors. Like, it's entirely made up of them. How's that? I'm afraid your objection has just flown off for brighter skies. This is where the real fun begins, Air Forehead. I like that Emma's wearing heels. I knew you didn't have what it took.
You jerk. Just what was I in here for? Comic relief? Yeah, apologize.
Oh, sorry.
That's no way to apologize.
It's angered the truce, you know. Look out. If we could please end the bickering now.
Whatever, I'm not leaving. I can't leave like this. I'll come up with some clue to solving this case if it kills me.
Your testimony has already given us enough to convict the defendant. Don't say that.
Aha!
Aha, what?
This bloodstain. The criminal tried to wipe it off, right?
That seemed to be what happened, yes?
We might be able to find out what was really written here.
Really? You can do that?
That's right, with this. It's called luminol. Maybe you know of it. It's a chemical that reacts to blood.
Yes. Have we done those tests yet?
As if I'm going to tell you.
The blood-stained covered a section of the carpet. In order to perform blood tests, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request it here in court now.
Right, go for it, Apollo.
Huh? I have to do the test?
You just have to spray the luminol on it. Simple.
Emma and Trucy's voice continually are sliding closer and closer together. Chemical that reacts to blood. I've heard of this somewhere. Yes, I believe an analysis is called for. Have at it.
Right, ready? Easy as pie. Just press A to spray an area. Here, give it a try.
Eyes of the entire court are focused on me. Scientific investigation.
Apollo, your hand's shaking.
Let's do this. Wow, really works.
This must be the power of science. It says IPXX 314206. Is that the killer's name?
It is. The killer was a robot. Aha! I have it. So what is it? I thought that those letters IPXX looked familiar. This is an Interpol ID number.
Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency?
Yes. Most are undercover agents working to solve international crimes. But why would he write that number? Why would Mr. Latouche even know a number like that? Good show, Fraulein Detective. Rock on.
Eh?
Your Honor, we can verify this number immediately. Darian, are you there? Come up to the witness stand. Darian, you heard what we need. Go check into this Interpol ID number. Good thing. Give me 30 minutes. No, give me 27. Not sure what to think of all this. The prosecution's case is airtight, or so it seems. And if this number is really of that of an Interpol agent.
Oh, wait, I know. What if Machi Tobei is really the undercover Interpol agent?
That would be a possibility. Why? Why? God damn, this... This kid really is quite accomplished at age 8. How old is Machi Tobei? 14. He's fucking 14. Oh my god, game. If this was literally any other case, if this was literally any other case, I would believe it. But because this is happening on top of everything else, it is blowing this stupid shit way into orbit. Like, if this was literally in any other case, I'd be like, okay, that's a bit silly, but yeah. But because it's this case, they're like, the 14-year-old is an Interpol agent. Why not? Hey, Lobster, how are you doing? I'm sorry, the fucking absurdity of this is just too much. Ace Attorney, I love you. So, lady, yes. One that would mark him as the killer, for certain. Why did Latouche know an Interpol ID number? Well, Lobster, they literally just accused a 14-year-old, like, to put it into frame of reference, Our client is a 14-year-old child who we thought was blind, but is not blind. They're saying that he stole the prosecutor's keys, hid an incendiary device in the prosecutor's guitar, shot a man 5 times his size with a pistol that would have dislocated his shoulder, then carried his body to the high-riser on the stage. And keep in mind, this is the same, like, this child is small, and the guy is, like, a giant. And now they're accusing the child of being an Interpol agent. Like... Why did Mr. Latouche know an Interpol ID number? That's what I want to know. Well, we have some time while we await Darian's report. The next thing we learned that he's actually 35 years old and just short. Let's work on unraveling another mystery, shall we? A curious mystery concerning Machi Tobaye. What are you talking about? It feels like it. Fräulein Detective, please accept my apologies. I received word that the defendant could in fact see just before the trial began. It seemed too much of a bother to tell you.
You had me until that last bit.
Does this not raise a rather straightforward question?
Well, sure. Why did Machi pretend he couldn't see?
Exactly. It makes little sense. What do you think, Air Forehead? Huh? Me? Machi Tobaye pretended he was blind. Do you know why?
How could he know? Wait, Prosecutor Gavin knows why, doesn't he?
He's known from the start of the trial. He's been leading us on the whole time. Is something wrong? Do you think perhaps this is all some kind of game? Know that the moment I heard that report, I knew why. I suppose people who have sold over 1 million records really are something else. What does that have to do with anything? There was a reason why Machi Tobaye pretended to be blind. But it wasn't for his own sake. Getting the picture now. Wasn't for himself? Well, Mr. Justice, present evidence that shows us why the defendant had to feign blindness. Huh? What? Huh? What? I haven't a clue. I have no idea. Air Forehead, I'm disappointed in you. Unless you're merely feigning stupidity, yeah? Keep it up, wise guy. Recall the relationship of Lamroar and Machi Tobaye. In particular, their arrangement over the year. Fabier, why is your voice so hard to do? In particular, their arrangement over the years before visiting our country.
Lamroar and her pianist. They would always walk together, leading him by the hand. Even when they got on stage, she would lead him to the piano. And she would walk all the way over there with him.
Yeah, like... The thing, yeah, that frustrates me a lot, is the fact that they... Well, they establish, they're like, okay, this is a big gun. Like, if someone who was not trained with the gun were to fire it, it would dislocate their shoulder. But, like, it's just, I swear, I'm trying to give this case a shot, like... That's right. Because he was blind, or so we thought. She led him at all times. All times. All times? Yet we now know that Machi could see perfectly well. Why keep up the charade? Well, wasn't it part of their performance? There is a simpler explanation, Herr Judge. Machi did not need to be led by the hand at all. Which means... You don't mean... I do. It was the other way around. Oh yeah, this shit. The one who needed to be led by the hand was Lemror. What's this? What if he was an Interpol agent? And he would have trained using the gun. What's this? You mean to say that Lemror is... she's... blind as a bat, Herr Judge.
What?
You know, Turnabout Big Top catches a lot of shit, for mostly for the method of, like, how everyone thought it was Max. But, like... how... Everyone is always like, Turnabout Big Top is the worst case in the entire series. I'm genuinely, like... this is hitting some new lows for me, guys. I'm trying, like... Genuinely. The logic in this case is worse than Turnabout Big Top. How do you do that? Like, this logic isn't even paper thin. Like, it's worse than paper thin. This is crazy, Prosecutor Gavin.
Yeah, wasn't she supposed to be the landscape painter in sound or something?
Well, since we have her here, why not ask Lemror herself? The worst part about Big Top is that if they tweaked how the BS physics worked slightly, it would work so much better. But, like, this is literally just... the prosecution has it out for Machi. I believe she's still waiting in the... I believe she's still in the witness waiting room.
Apollo, what does this mean for our case?
Don't ask me. I had no idea she couldn't see. I hadn't even imagined it until now. I genuinely, when I was doing the perceiving earlier, and I was looking at her eyes, I was like, wait a sec, wasn't there some bullshit about her being blind? And then, like, as we got through her testimony, I was like, nah, it couldn't have been. Like, I'm not going crazy, like, nope. Bailiff, bring in Lemror. Lemror, it pains me deeply to call you before us again in this way. Banana. Is this worse than I Capo? And yet I must.
Please, do not be concerned on my behalf.
Those eyes. She really can't see? Really?
It is true.
They're on the same level. Like, yeah, you know what this case is? This case is a textbook definition of an idiot plot. Like, genuinely. That just clicked in my brain. This case would not work if the IQ of everyone in the room did not suddenly take a massive dip. This is a textbook definition of an idiot plot.
How funny it is that a tiny lie born in the Borginian countryside would one day grow to entangle the entire world.
Oh, you are.
Yes, as I mentioned before, I have no memory of the time before I became Lemroar. I know too that my memories begin in darkness. The word light has no meaning for Lemroar.
I see. You may recall me saying something toward the beginning of this trial, Air Forehead. Tripped over that line, but okay. What's that? I believe I said it was unfortunate. This crime had no direct witnesses. Ah. Now, Lemroar, I must ask you to stand once more. Will you testify to the court about your eyes?
Of course. It was never my intent to deceive any of you. May I begin, Your Honor?
Yes, of course. I admit I'm a little lost here. I think we're all a bit lost here, Your Honor. Like, I really like the character of Lemroar. Like, she shows up, like, at least once more in a future game. And she's pretty cool there.
I have no memory of the light. I debuted in a world of darkness and sound. My producer came up with my PR line before he knew this.
Oh god, Ace Attorney does have third case syndrome. Like, okay. Turnabout Samurai is okay. It may drag a little bit, but Turnabout Samurai is okay. Turnabout Big Top is notoriously bad. Which case is case 3 for Trials and Tribulations? That's Recipe for Turnabout, right? Recipe for Turnabout, Which one was DGS1? DGS1 is the first Soseki case, right?
So, silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. Everyone on my staff knew, of course, but no others.
Oh, yeah, it is the Magnus McGilded case, isn't it? Because I forgot case 2 is the one on the boat. Sorry, give me a sec. And then we've got Turnabout Serenade, which, God, this one's being bad so far. And I forget, Dual Destinies, I believe, is Turnabout Academy, I think is what it's called. It's the school one that I don't really remember. if I'm not mistaken. But this is a murder trial.
I apologize. It was part of my contract, you see. I was to keep my blindness a secret, no matter what. Music is everything for me. I never imagined something like this would.
And she told us the truth in the beginning. Then she said she saw nothing. Well, does the defense have anything to add? I'd like to cross-examine.
But what is there left to ask?
There's one thing in her testimony that bothered me. Perhaps it is best we let you get it out of your system. Someday you'll come to understand the importance of thinking for yourself. Very well, the defense may proceed. However, be aware that this court will not tolerate any questions deemed too stressful to the witness. Okay, there's only one part that bothered me. Let me ask about that and I'll be happy. So I assume that this is a you can't press. You know, well, okay, genuinely, what is it with Ace Attorney games having like historically bad cases and then immediately hitting you with like the hypest shit in the next case? Because the last case in this game is really good. Like, genuinely really good. And the case that happens immediately after Big Top is the single best case in the entire series from what I've played. I have no memory of the light. I debuted in a world of darkness and sound. Producer came up with my PR line before he knew this. So silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. When you say your staff, do you include Mr. Latouche?
Of course. He was my manager.
So he knew. And that's what's been bugging me. Yeah, that's what I figured. Nothing the matter, Mr. Justice. He wouldn't have implicated her as a witness if he knew she was blind. I believe I know what is bothering our young defense attorney. You're thinking of when you discovered the body, yes?
Is he right, Apollo?
Yes, I was. I am not reading this again. This is the 5th time. This is very overkill. Witness's siren. Mr. Latouche told me to ask the witness, and he named you. Why would he do that? He knew you were blind.
I don't know.
What did I just say? You need to learn to think for yourself. Meaning what? There is no mystery here if you recall everything he said. Think of his last words once more. Miss Siren. Heard them many times, along with a little play acting by our defense. I remember them well myself. But that statement is not to what I refer. I mean what he said before that. Before? What came before? That's right. He tried to tell you. When he said can't see, he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the witness. I see. Too bad the defense did not. Well, Air Forehead. I like that. I like that thought, Sachi. Try relaxing. That wasn't your voice at all. That had none of the rolled R's. God, Clavier, why is your voice so hard? Why are accents so hard to do? Try relaxing and looking at the facts. The first next time. Order, order! Recall Lamrar's earlier testimony.
I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it.
She couldn't have heard those gunshots. I thought we proved that. That is not the most important point here. The moment he was shot, Mr. Latus witnessed her through that window. Why else would he have named her as the witness? Or wait, whoops. That was a surprisingly effeminate gasp from you, Apollo.
But I really did hear them. 2 gunshots, and a man's voice.
Unfortunately, such a thing was impossible. The window was closed. We'll already run a simulation, of course.
But it was so clear. If I heard that voice again, I would know in an instant.
The voice training is paying off, Apollo. Your Honor? What is it, bailiff? Do you see we're in session here? We have the results back from the investigation. Investigation? Ah, the Interpol number that Mr. Latus left us. Is Lemur a daredevil? I mean, who... At this point, who knows? Maybe fucking Machi is Daredevil, like... Mr. Justice, I may be able to see the future, but Machi lies outside of the future. I've never been able to see this child before. That's why I'm very suspicious of him. Well, let's hear it. Continue this cross-examination afterward. Detective Crescend, your report, please. Ask Interpol about that number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing. Quick work as always, Darian. Well, tell us about the number. Defendant's a secret agent. IP XX314206. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latus. What? Machi is the devil and Lemur is the terror. Our undercover Interpol agent was Mr. Latus himself. He was apparently in the middle of an operation. So, when he wrote those letters, he was trying to tell us his own identity. The cautious killer tried to wipe him away.
Mr. Latus was an undercover Interpol agent. And so, him being Lemur's manager...
It was just a cover, most likely. There's one other important detail I found. Well, out with it. It concerns that .45 caliber revolver, the murder weapon. Apparently it belonged to Romain Latus. He had an Interpol permit to carry firearms. The registration number on that revolver matched. And so the victim was killed with his own weapon. Which makes sense. It's hard to imagine someone who wasn't an Interpol agent would have such a large revolver. So the victim was an Interpol agent on an undercover op. I wonder how that ties into everything.
It's gotta tie in somehow, don't you think?
Yeah, somehow. Thanks for looking into that, Detective... into that for us, yeah. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescend. It's a great help. No, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out.
Wait.
Oh, is something the matter?
That voice just now.
Darian?
Mr. Darian, is it? It was him. I'm sure of it.
It was him? You aren't saying...
That voice I heard, talking to Mr. Latouche, when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darian.
Is this some kind of joke? What? No way. Courtroom fell into such a chaotic state that the trial had to be suspended temporarily. I'd never seen that happen before. Of course, it's not every day that you get an accusation like that one. Amrar fingering Darian Crescend. Phrasing. Please, Apollo. Not only is he a guitarist, he's a detective. Could it really have been his voice Lemrar heard? Things were changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it.
Hey, no wimping out now, Apollo.
Accidental innuendo? Oh, great. We've got another investigation segment. Great.
Hey, Apollo.
What?
Well, you know, actually, nothing. I mean, something, or maybe not.
Out with it. The suspense is giving me an ulcer.
Well, the trial today. I was thinking. If you gave it a score, what score would you give it?
Score? Gee. Guess I would, maybe, well... I'm just as bad as you.
See, it's so vague.
Clearly. Machi avoided a guilty verdict, which is something. But I can't say I'm any less confused about the case. Ask Interpol about that number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing. Yep, cool. It's Romain Latouche. And the victim, Mr. Latouche. Who would have guessed that he was actually an undercover Interpol agent? What a mess. We don't have any idea what he was investigating.
Well, true, but we know who shot him now. Lemur told the whole court.
Yep, cool. Cool, we literally just read this. There was like maybe 10 lines of dialogue. I guess it's after a save point, though. I guess that's why there's the recap there, but...
It's another mystery, Apollo. I love mysteries.
I don't. Speaking of mysteries, what's Mr. Wright up to? I wouldn't mind asking his opinion.
Now that you mention it, I haven't seen Daddy around.
What, is he some kind of stray that just wanders in and out at will?
I wouldn't say that, but he's been going out a lot. It's some top secret mission, he said.
Top secret?
Anyway, you can't just rely on him to save the day. And you've got me to help you, too. We'll be fine.
Fine, right. Well, time's a-wasting, as they say. Let's investigate.
That's the spirit.
Charlie. Mr. Charlie, the potted plant. Huh? These are looking a little brown.
Good morning, Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie, your leaves.
You weren't giving him enough water?
No, it must be stress. He's worried about the new recruit at the office.
Hey, don't blame it on me. You are watering him, right?
It was Daddy's turn to water him this week.
Mr. Wright's been away on his top secret mission, no?
I'm sorry, Mr. Charlie. This is all my fault. I'll water you soon, promise.
Top secret mission is a weird way to say date with Edgeworth. Yeah. Strange split box leers at me from the wall. No matter how many times I see that there, it still strikes me as odd.
Really? I guess I've gotten used to it after growing up with it. Always around the house.
What kind of a home did you grow up in?
I'd hide in there when we played hide and seek. You just get in, slide the sections around, and you're impossible to find.
I bet you would be. That's one of those hats you pull things out of, right?
Of course, my hat's like a little universe, bigger on the inside than on the outside.
That reminds me of a sci-fi show I used to watch. Doctor Who reference?
Incidentally, my pocket is a little universe too, and my panties, and...
I get the idea. How's your magic act coming along?
Well, I've been working on my cups and balls routine.
That the one where the ball moves from under one cup to the other?
That's right, the very same. Here, watch. First, I put one of the cups over the ball. Then I snap my fingers. Ta-da! The ball's under the other cup.
It's not there.
Watch me pull something out of my magic panties.
Nice try.
Guess I know what I'll be doing tonight. Practicing. You can be my audience, Apollo.
I require hydration. I've seen some restaurants that set out real food to show what's on the menu.
I have too, but I noticed something strange. One time there was a sandwich without any lettuce. Like it had disappeared by magic.
Sure, someone just swiped the lettuce and ate it.
Wait, that sandwich. You didn't... Apollo, you shouldn't eat sample food no matter how hungry you are.
So how hard up do you think I am? Faded photograph showing one of Trucy's favorite magicians. She talks to it daily for good luck, I hear.
I almost forgot. I hope to become a famous grand magician. Oh, and I hope Apollo becomes an ace attorney.
Roll credits.
There, all done.
Suppose if you're going to talk to inanimate objects, the photo isn't so bad.
Well, how about some tea? Here you go.
Thanks. That's nice. But this isn't the time to be drinking tea.
That's right. We have to get investigating. That was a close call. We almost relaxed.
There's several books of magic mixed in with the legal books on the shelves. I dusted them recently. Nothing like the gleam of clean books. Trucy is great. I love Trucy. Lemur dropped a bomb in court today. It was Darian.
Lemur said she'd never forgotten a voice, right? That's so cool.
I guess.
What's that called again? Elephant ears? I bet that's what they're called.
Somehow I don't think that means what you think it means. And she has to be wrong this time.
Wrong? Why?
I mean, look. Those gunshots were right during the concert.
That's right. I was burning up the dance floor at the time.
Alright, did you happen to look up on stage? Maybe at Darien even?
You bet I did.
Man, I'm realizing how shitty my glasses frames are. Because they've got like a little divot in them because the very end of the I forget what they're called, the ear, like the spots that go over your ears, I think they're called wings. That might be the nose piece actually. The end bits of it can fold to give you like hooks on them, but if I'm using them straight, the spot where the divot exists so that they can bend digs into my ears.
He is one of the Governor's guitarists, after all. He's so cool. Oh.
Right. All the Governors have a rock-solid alibi. He couldn't have shot Mr. Latouche backstage.
But Limrur heard him, didn't she? And she heard Darien backstage, right?
Somebody's either wrong or lying very badly here. An Interpol agent.
I was wondering, what is Interpol anyway?
Huh? Interpol? The guys who catch international criminals.
Why can't they just call him International Police instead of making up some silly name?
Yeah. Anyway, you think he was investigating Limrur?
Why would anyone do that? She's not a criminal. She couldn't be.
Don't be fooled by appearances is all I'm saying.
But remember, I'm a magician, Apollo. I can spot a palmed coin at 50 paces.
Only it were that easy. In any case, we know he was working on something.
I wonder if it was something that has something to do with something. That something being our case. The last something, I mean.
Something like that. Frankly, the whole thing is making my head hurt. What was Mr. Latouche up to? Huh. Trucy, was that another one of your tricks?
It wasn't me. I can't even make Mr. Hat laugh like that.
Oh, hi. Wherever the mundane gives way to miracles, a word is whispered. Gramarye.
Hey, the other day...
Who's there?
We didn't just imagine that, did we?
He's wearing a silk hat. Friend of yours?
Hardly.
We meet again. Nice to meet you. Who are you? Could you please stop smirking like that?
It's you, Uncle Valen.
Uncle Valen? He's your uncle?
No, silly. It's the great Gramarye, Valen Gramarye. The Grand Magician.
Yes, it is I, the great Valen Gramarye, as seen on television. Could you please stop smirking like that? It's been a while, Miss Trucy. 7 years, to be exact. My, how you've grown.
Good to see you again, Uncle Valen. You look exactly the same.
I hate to intrude, but what is a great magician doing paying us a visit? I believe it was you who wished to see me. So be quick with your questions. And do not quail, quake, or quiver. I'm quite tame. Though my stardom may sear the sight, I'm quite down to earth when the need calls. He does have a certain aura to him, that's true.
Let's ask him about the case, Apollo.
Zara sure isn't lost on our magician in the making. He's practically drooling with enthusiasm.
After all, Uncle Valent's one of Daddy's best friends. That's why I call him Uncle.
What? Daddy? You mean Mr. Wright?
No, I mean, my real daddy.
Trucy's real father?
Wait, Apollo. Don't tell me you don't know about Troop Grammary.
Troop Grammary? Huh? No. But it does sound kind of familiar. Oh, lost life. Lamentably listless lad. Do not know of the greatest troop of magicians on the planet. Alan Grammary. Name began to surface in my mind. It's a name I'd heard on television as a child.
You bet you've heard the name. He made a cruise ship disappear and blew up an amusement park. Oh, and he made all of this gold disappear from this safe. And then escaped from a high-security prison.
You said he's a magician. I open the locks to hearts chained by mediocrity. This is the true miracle of Troop Grammary. Wait.
What, Apollo?
I do remember seeing you on television a long time ago. Weren't you with someone else, like a duo?
A duo?
Yeah, you had a partner. Something Grammary. Yes, Zach. Zach Grammary. A masterful maker of magic. A capable crafter of shining showmanship. Why is everyone so quiet?
Daddy.
Daddy? Huh? Oh, no way! Once upon a time, Troop Grammary included 2 grand magicians. Myself, Valent Grammary, and my partner, Zach Grammary. And this Zach was...
He was my real daddy.
Trucy's father, a magician. I guess it makes sense. I had no idea.
There wasn't much point in talking about it. Not now that he's gone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm not lonely. I've got my daddy after all. And you make me laugh, Apollo.
Glad that I'm good for comic relief, at least.
Not that I see Daddy around much these days.
I've been remiss in remembering my reasons for a visit. Reasons? 2, in fact. The first being, of course, to see you, Miss Trucy.
You don't know how happy I am to see you again, Uncle Valent.
I'm sure you are. Not one for modesty, are you? When I encountered you at the Colosseum, the first time in 7 years, I could not contain my emotions. I wept oceans. And to learn that you now defend that poor pianist, that blinded boy. 'Twas a hot topic of talk amongst the staff, you know. And defend him you did.
Well, it wasn't all my doing.
I'm his defense attorney, actually. My other reason for coming here today was this.
That's a videotape.
Quite so. A recording of the concert, no less. I've brought it for you, Trucy, on behalf of Troop Grammary. Will you watch it? Look at Orange Clavier. It is orange DS model. You You can see the guitar flash here. Right here. Get used to seeing this. We're gonna have to watch it a couple more times. Just fucking Clavier in the background trying to put out the guitar.
Wow, it's almost as good as it was live. And so, what's the word? Mysterious?
More mysterious things than her song going on. Way more mysterious. Miss Valiant Grammary has good reasons to be here today. But I wonder what his reasons were to be at that concert. Felt like a horror game. It's because of the low resolution models. So, I was wondering, that stunt in the middle of the song there.
I didn't see a stunt.
What about Lemur vanishing and reappearing?
Oh, that? Well, I'm so used to seeing that happen I didn't even notice.
So young to be so jaded. A simple sleight of hand. A petite prestidigitation. I think I pronounced that right. Prestidigitation. It's a spell in D&D. The blue badger. Banana. I'll point it out when we go back to the crime scene. A modicum of magic from me to you.
So that's why you're at the concert.
Yes. I was there to watch my tricks take to the air. So you're the one who knows how it was all done. Of course, I'm like a deity with the stage as my domain. I suffer no mystery upon those floodlit boards, not grasped tightly twixt my fingers. It is a potent, primeval power I possess. Well, do you think you could tell me how it was done?
Hey now.
Trucy.
That's like totally against the rules, Apollo.
Not during a murder investigation, it's not. Mine no. For my illusions are mine alone, monsieur. Also... Last time we had a videotape in a case, there's the blue badger, yeah. Also what? Recall that terrible occurrence happened, or that the terrible occurrence happened later. Well after my illusion entranced the audience. No. Don't even ask, I won't answer.
Too bad for you, Apollo.
Whose side are you on? I, Valiant Grammary, now take my leave, Miss Trucy.
There's no need to rush, Uncle Valiant. You should stay a while.
I'm afraid I cannot. I may not, I shall not. I have been asked to assist with an analysis, and so I shall slink back into the scene. So, you'll be at the concert venue today? Correct. If you would call on me, come to the Colosseum. See you later, crocodile. Roll of his cloak and a wink of his eye. Turned and walked out through the door. Normally.
Well, there you go, Apollo. Let's get cracking.
Right. Valiant Grammary. Got a few more things to ask him. Foremost among them, that bit of magic that made Lemroar disappear. And how he knows Trucy and her real father.
Ooh, what a great day. It's such perfect weather for sleuthing.
The weather matters for an investigation?
Don't some days just feel like magic days or defense days?
Sure. Let's get started, shall we?
Right on. Show us your stuff, Apollo.
What stuff?
Your voice training. This is the perfect place for it.
Did enough at home, thanks.
There's no need to be shy. Keep that up and you'll never make it on the big stage.
I'm happy in the courtroom, thank you. And, I am a lawyer.
And then you're in luck. Because it's lawyer weather today. Don't you want to face the blue sky and shout objection?
Look, the weather has nothing to do with lawyers. Let's get going already. This is the blue badger down here at the bottom. What's that creature there?
Oh, that's the police mascot, the blue badger.
It's life-size.
Haven't you seen them around town patrolling the streets? Yes, now even Law and Order has a mascot.
I'd run from that thing even if I wasn't a criminal. Why does its head wobble like that when it walks? It's freaky.
I don't think you're showing true blue badger spirit, Apollo. Look, a blimp.
Those balloons next to it have sponsor ads on them.
Let's see. Big sale, all shirts 50% off.
Oh, it's an ad for the department store next door. Sunshine Coliseum sure is living up to its name today.
It's huge. And Mr. Gavin got to play on that enormous stage. I'm so jealous. Someday I'll fight my first battle on this stage.
Battle?
Well, yeah, it's a coliseum, isn't it?
They don't do gladiatorial contests at these places anymore, Trucy.
Really? I had no idea. I wonder where they stopped.
Sometimes I worry about her. Look, a massive sign for the Guilty as Charged tour. Giant Prosecutor Gavin stares out across the arena.
Oh, maybe I can take it to the office when they're done with it.
Where would you put it? You couldn't even get that thing through the front door.
And then I'll put it outside. I bet it'd be good for business.
As long as no one comes expecting us to prosecute.
Well, if anyone comes looking for a concert, leave it to me.
Is this part of some twisted plan of hers to make her singing debut, I wonder? What kind of weapon do you think Trucy would wield? What kind of weapon do you think Apollo would wield, for that matter? A trident? I feel like Trucy, personally, I feel like Trucy would be a lot more of the throwing knife type of person.
Ah, Mr. Attorney.
Lemurr. I'm sorry about today. How did you know it was me? You're blind. Unless you're actually... God, could you imagine? Could you imagine if they pulled the double? Oh, I'm blind, but oh, I'm not actually blind. Apollo gets a sword, but it's limp.
There's nothing you need to apologize for. You were merely defending Machi. Are you okay? Alone, I mean. Humans are blessed with 5 senses. Even robbed of one, we get by. Though it does make being a witness rather difficult. And speaking of seeing, you knew who you were, or who we were before we... Speaking of seeing, you knew who we were before we spotted you just now.
Gosh. Trucy, like, your voice.
And we weren't even talking. I heard your footsteps several times the day before. Oh. You must have great ears.
Ears that heard the crime taking place. Or so she claimed yesterday, but how? Thank you for the hydrate, lobster. That was quite a statement you made today in court. About hearing Darian Krishen's voice at the scene of the crime.
I did not know his name. But I never forget a voice. Wait.
Something the matter?
That voice just now. It was him. I'm sure of it.
No way.
As I said in court, I was on my way backstage from the stage.
Thank you for the stretch.
That is when I heard his voice.
I'm guessing Darian and Mr. Latouche were talking about something.
The next moment, I heard those gunshots.
Why didn't you call security?
To be honest, though the noise was quite frightening, I never imagined the gunshots might be real. And I was in quite a hurry myself. I left the scene at once. So, it really was Darian's voice that she heard.
Yeah. At least she certainly thinks it was.
I met Machi before my debut as Lemrar. I was singing in a restaurant in Borginia.
And he was playing the piano.
Yes. He was very kind to me when he learned I could not see.
That when you started playing opposites? With Machi pretending he couldn't see?
No, it wasn't then. That began after our major debut. After I became known as the landscape painter in sound. It must have been tough for Machi. Pretending he couldn't see and all while acting as your eyes. We held hands, always. He would write with his finger on my palm to signal to me things I should know. He's a smart, gentle boy.
I think I see what she's getting at. Machi would never harm a soul. About Mr. Latouche.
Ah, yes. He was an Interpol agent, I hear.
So you had no idea?
Of course not. No one did. I guess that's what it means to be undercover.
But someone was after him. They had to know who he really was.
Why did he pose as my manager? I do not understand.
You have no idea?
I can only assume that he was investigating me. But why?
What makes you think that?
Perhaps it's not so, but I cannot deny the possibility. Because of my condition. As my present is veiled in darkness, so too is my past clouded from my memory.
Clouded, right.
The darkness that I fear is not the darkness that I see whenever I open my eyes. The real darkness lies in my heart.
In your heart?
I have no memory of the time before I became Lemrar. I awoke from darkness, into darkness, you might say.
I was singing in a restaurant those days.
What was it she said about not being able to remember the light?
I do not know my past. Perhaps I committed some terrible crime in my past. Everything before becoming Lemroar is lost to me. But I don't think you... I can think of no other explanation. Why else would an agent of Interpol approach me?
Think your past might be related to this case?
No, wait. That seems really unlikely to me. I mean, you're such a sweet person, Lemroar. I thank you. Machi, too, tells me this often when I fear who I might have been.
Think you could tell me about this? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. I probably can't show her anything. But she is blind. Oh god, there's so much to check. Okay. Shooter must have used that to climb up into the vent.
All this tragedy because someone left a stepladder here.
I don't think Mr. Latouche was shot because of that ladder.
You think it was Machi?
Yes, that air vent is pretty small after all. That prove he was at the scene? He escaped in the time between the gunshots and us opening the door? Look at the way those bullets tore through this thick wall. That revolver really was something else.
I wonder if someone as little as me could even fire it.
Dislocating your shoulder would kind of put a crimp on your stage career.
Daddy always has stiff shoulders. Maybe that could loosen him up.
Don't even mention it. I'm afraid he might go out and actually try it.
Nah, he doesn't have the guts to pull the trigger, I bet.
Speaker for monitoring the stage. It was blaring at the time of the shooting.
It's a pretty old model for such a nice place.
They don't care about sound quality back here, as long as you can hear it. Not that the loss of fidelity could possibly make that music worse.
Good speakers must cost a lot. Do you have any idea how much a nice one that size would cost, Apollo?
Probably a good 10 years of your allowance, give or take.
What? But that's almost $600.
$5 a month? Poor Trucy. Wait till she finds out. You need to buy 2 speakers for stereo. Why was that an achievement? That is the only non-trial finishing achievement I've gotten in this entire game. Right after the shooting took place, Lemroar tried to come into the dressing room and dropped her brooch.
I think that fits with the other stuff we know. Do you think the timing of when she dropped it is important?
Yeah. Something about it bugs me, that's for sure.
Look, it's fruit. Fruit, Apollo, fruit.
I heard you the first time. Sure is a lot of fruit. I doubt anyone would miss a bit of watermelon.
I know, I'll make it vanish into my stomach.
Better not, they might make you pay for it. And if you have the money for that, you should probably repaint the office first.
Watermelons are that expensive?
These could have been imported from some exotic locale for all we know. There is no watermelon. Oh, I guess. Okay, there is a bite of watermelon there. I was like, there is no watermelon in here. That is a normal melon. It's one of the biggest, most expensive looking TVs I've ever seen.
Too bad you'll never own one.
Never is kind of harsh, Trucy.
How about for all eternity, then?
Same difference. There's something about Trucy's banter that just... Trucy's great. I love Trucy.
A Gaviner's poster.
How many of those did they put up, anyway?
Prosecutor Gavin looked so cool on stage. You should learn to play the guitar too, Apollo. You can accompany my magic act.
Certainly be a novelty act, if nothing else. I'll think about it if I ever lose my attorney's badge. Thank you for the hydrate knot. You know, completely random thought. I was looking at my game shelf off to the right, and I was like, damn, I should stream 13 Sentinels one of these days. It's a poster for another show. This summer, a Legal Eagles production of Case Closed.
I looked into that performance group. It turns out they're all law enforcement related too. Apparently their serious portrayal of law and order is a big draw.
It sounds so boring, it's probably pretty interesting.
You're a complicated man, Mr. Apollo Justice. It's a shame you won't learn the guitar. Clavier is gonna be disappointed.
This was the window in where Lemrar saw the crime scene from. Wow. Wish it was that simple.
It's kind of hard to see a crime when you can't see. But she did hear it.
Yeah, but the window was closed.
Maybe she heard it some other way. A stack of presents for Lemrar. And stars always get the biggest presents. You know, you could give me a present, Apollo.
Here, have a piece of candy.
Gee, thanks.
Must not get a lot of presents, poor girl. Apollo just has candy in his pocket. What is he, like 60? That's probably rude of me to say. I probably shouldn't have said that, but usually people carrying around like candy in their pockets tend to be older. It's one of those permanent dryers you see in hair salons.
Is that what they're really called? Permanent dryers?
Look like a beautician? I just know they dry your hair and give you a permanent. Wait, is that what perm is short for? Is perm, like, in regards to hairstyle, short for permanent? Huh? I genuinely didn't know that.
It just doesn't sound very glamorous, you know?
Okay, how about a permachine?
Or you could go more simple, like permer.
Isn't a bad game, thinking up official names for things. Not that it makes the name actually official or anything. Seeing these mirrors lined up like that makes me think I'm really in a dressing room. Look at all that makeup. Okay, so completely random thing. I work in a theater for one of my jobs. And, the green room, which is the area where the cast hangs out while they're off stage, and the dressing rooms are absolutely covered in mirrors. Like, I'm talking like, instead of it being like this, where you've got the curved mirrors on the wall, the dressing rooms in the theater that I work at have a mirror that is the wall. It takes up the whole wall. And the green room has one as well. I don't know where I was going with that thought. I just thought, look at all that makeup.
All I know is they sure don't make for much of a clue.
Guess she's not into makeup yet.
That's one heavy-duty bouquet there.
I have trouble thinking of flowers as being heavy-duty.
But they call lots of things heavy-duty.
Not flowers, they don't.
What about a heavy scent?
I think you mean heady. I've heard the term heavy scent before.
What if the flowers were plastic?
They still wouldn't be heavy.
Okay, what if they were made out of metal?
What, like a magnolia made out of steel?
Exactly. Though, I hope all my fans don't start throwing metal flowers at me.
Hey, look, part of the carpet's been torn up here.
That was the part we did the luminol testing on in court.
Luminol, right.
You know what I couldn't stop thinking? Who's going to pay for this carpet?
Long as it's not us. Maybe the shooter?
I guess it's true what they say. Crime doesn't pay.
I'd hope that carpet replacement costs weren't the only thing holding you back. I think one of the big things that makes me love Trucy a lot is that Trucy gives off such like chaotic neutral energy.
And that's been lying there since the day before yesterday.
Small. Maybe no one's noticed it.
I kinda wanna pick it up. It'd make a cool souvenir, don't you think?
It does stick out in my mind for some reason. Apollo... Pain. It's the Cavender's dressing room. We're all out on an investigation. Being backstage isn't half as glamorous without a band here. The thing on the floor is supposed to be a headset, like an earpiece headset, like a microphone. But yeah, that's gonna be where I end for tonight, because it is 6 a.m. Man, that sounds so bad when I say it out loud. I swear I work nights. I swear 6 a.m. is a normal time for me. But, yeah, unless I decide to do something else for a little bit. Oh god, this segment is called The Legwork Begins. But yeah, unless I decide to do something else, I'm probably gonna be streaming this tomorrow. Fingers crossed that my throat is up to it. It's not hurting right now, but you never know. But yeah, exclamation point Discord if you want to join the Discord, exclamation point socials. Otherwise, give me a sec and we'll find someone to raid. Okay. You know, there's a part of me that kind of wants to try streaming FF14, but at the same time, I don't know what I would do if I was streaming FF14. Ando's streaming. Let's read him. So yeah, I hope to see you here tomorrow for probably more of this, unless my voice is giving out on me. Otherwise, I guess have a good one, and take care. You can throw him in the games channel on the Discord, Lobster.